I'm building a top 75 fully decorated solo extreme demon and then forcing myself to verify, and today we're continuing creating this level. By the end of this video, you'll see a showcase of everything we created in action. We're building things such as grueling duels, 4x speed wave club set monsters, and much more gameplay that I'm somehow gonna have to verify even if it's the last thing I do. And the longer I take, the harder the demon list gets, so making this top 75 will only become harder as time ticks. Anyways, y'all seem to enjoy part 1 quite a bit, so let's return back to where we left off. Alright, it's day 8 of building Wrath of the Phantom. Just about to get into the drop, and of course I super buffed it by hugging the hitbox trail. I'm gonna have to verify 3 minutes of this, by the way. I got some nice gaps over here. However, I've been hiding a little secret about this level, and it's something very important. And if you pay attention, you may catch on to what I'm talking about. Let's just say in part 1, some of y'all are already catching on. Alright, we got some pretty hard jumps and stuff here. Now we're gonna play what we just made. It's a little bit hard. Wait, is this click even possible? What? So now we're gonna go back to the beginning here and finish up how I want all the structures and all that to look. Let's try making a little club set monster here. Now, if you haven't watched part 1, but you should after this video, I'd like to do something we call structuring. I'm just gonna add some hills to this part because I honestly don't really know what to add here. Structuring is whenever we take our raw gameplay objects like spikes and lines and turn them into shapes of actual objects that'll be the foundation for my decoration in the future, so we can hopefully cook with the decoration. Now we're adjusting these colors so it actually looks like it's nighttime. We got a little setup here to make this more understandable. Then I add some camera work as per usual and tried to build tension leading up to the drop. Anyways, that was all for that day as it was getting late and I was getting tired. Alright, we are back. Right now what we're doing is we're adding a little moon over here. This is going to be the foundation for something very cool we'll decorate in the future. Now if you haven't guessed already, this level is called Wrath of the Phantom for a reason. There will be a ghost haunting you through the whole level. And I'm excited to try to decorate it, but it'll be very difficult to pull off too. Alright, added some flickers to the screen here. Towards the end of the part, we got a darkness effect here for a cool transition. We'll put this little guy here to kind of indicate what's going to happen in the future. And here we go. We got the drop gameplay. Let's begin. Little did I know just how long it would take to make this drop section. But anyways, this will be the fastest, most intense, and probably the hardest part of the level. So we're going to try to make some very difficult wave gaps here. And for some reason, it took me about 40 minutes to make like 2 seconds of wave gameplay. I kept trying to get a click pattern I wanted, but I ended up not liking it at all. I did some trial and error of this until I got something I liked. Alright, got pretty hard wave gap up in here. I'm just gonna leave it like this, but probably gonna nerf this in the future. I suck at wave though, so I really want to try to push my wave skills with this. Alright, well that's all we have time for now. I'm learning. On day 10, we started our day with some nice wave. This level might make me wave carried, and this part didn't take 40 minutes to make, so I see that as a win. Then we made some tasty club set monsters straight fly. The club set monsters will be cool in this part, trust. And I accidentally made the straight fly here kind of impossible. It's gonna take a long time to get used to that. Then I decided some high CPS spider gameplay would be good. I'm gonna add little wave clicks in between it actually. Now here's the thing, by making all these super hard clicks, I really just might be screwing my future self over. But at the same time, I really don't want to hold back on the difficulty of this level. So I then made more high CPS gameplay with timings and all of it. And some UFO. I'll do a few dash orb timings here. This UFO motion goes with the song quite well. Okay, here's like 30 minutes of a recording where I just didn't say a word. But yeah, here's a time lapse of that. Nothing that interesting. Let's just cut forward. Alright, yeah, this gameplay for this first section of the drop took really long to make for a lot of reasons. Yep, we are falling way behind schedule. For some reason, I just assumed that every part would take the same amount of time to make, which is just delusional because some parts are just more complicated than others. And let's just say time started to become a pretty big issue in the next days. Yo, what's good, everybody? Alright. Adding some spikes on the structure so it looks a little scarier. Now, you're gonna make a very spooky club set monster. It's gonna have some cool flashing effect. Look, I know what you're thinking, but Grief doesn't own all legal rights to club set monsters that look like this, okay? Anyways, I went for some kind of castle ruins like structures on some mountains. I'm gonna add a little grass around here. Okay, this structuring is not bad. We're getting some of this.
And basically how Space UK was friends with them, but was lying to them the whole time.
But yeah, the rest of that day, it was literally just structuring. Kind of boring. But then I finished that up next day. Then I wasted about the next hour making some controlled camera system that was just way more inefficient than the way I've been doing it. Oh, no. I don't know, it's hard to explain for not me. I basically just wasted a bunch of time. Now I'm gonna try to set up a cool pulse effect for these club set monsters. Yeah, you can see they're gonna flash white. Anyways, my timer went off while I was making these guys, so that was all for the day. Alright, so it is day. I have no idea. So we're now gonna make a duel section. It's gonna probably take a long time because duels are always really hard to make. Yeah, I just left the previous part semi-undone for now because I just want to move forward. It was taking so long. Anyways, check out this duel. Now, a lot of my duels end up being really buggy, so we're gonna have to be super careful here. Now, Now on top of everything just taking longer, building duels are always very time consuming because you got to make sure not buggy, focus on 2 icons, so that's just convenient. All right, I think we have a good base for our duel here, and then I recorded a pretty precise macro going for a nice consistent and syncing click pattern, and then we super buffed it, which is actually going to help make the duel play better, so it'll prevent the player from going in spots that'll screw up the duel, so that's cool. All right, I'm pretty sure this duel will play well. It feels like consistent. Yeah, I might just spend the next 5 minutes watching the duel play over and over again because it was satisfying. I liked how it turned out. For the rest of the day, I did a little more structuring and add some more gameplay, but I didn't record it for some reason. Good morning, folks. As always, use some of our walls back here to connect everything, and that looks pretty good to me. I feel like Cuban Spider could make for something cool. That's right, we're making more duel gameplay. I'm leaving the camera pretty zoomed out at this part because there's something cool that you'll see later on. We'll end this off with some big cube and robot jumps. Fun fact, I had a good idea of what I wanted every part to look like written out months ago of this level. Having all that pre-planning is super helpful because I don't really have to think about it too much. Alright, let's try this duel now. Okay, some clicks are a little difficult. Now the duel had a few bugs and problems, so I had to spend a bit here, but I think I got it all fixed. I think it should be fine to play, but we really won't know until we actually play. Then after that, we did more structuring, which is it boring? Yes, but is it necessary? Also yes. So hey, it turned out pretty cool, IMO. For the next part, I add some single ship clicks because it worked pretty well with the song. I feel like a UFO could go kind of hard. And then I proceeded to lather the click pattern in spikes. Okay, tight jump. Anyways, just worked on the camera triggers a little bit that day, and then I was done. Now, day 15, I didn't record anything, because I just finished up some old parts of the level that I neglected, like some of the camera work in the older parts, and the pulsing effects in the beginning of the drop. And then after that, I went on a 7-day vacation without building Wrath of the Phantom at all. But then I returned for day 16, and we actually finally got to finishing the drop. So we gotta do a lot of flashing here, keep it very intense, already almost at 5k objects. So I tried to make some shake triggers kind of sync with the bass of the song, and then used a bunch of pulses synced with the beat, which helped the intensity a lot here because it felt super lackluster before. Then I wanted to make some kind of magically floating rotating blocks, and I have not used this trigger in like 2 years. So we finished a few rotating objects here. Kind of a lot of work for something you barely notice, honestly. Alright, I did add this little pinch here because I think it looks cool. Anyways, I'm happy with the way this is looking, and I just did all that again for the last half of the part. And then finally, the drop has been fully finished, so I just ended the day there. 6.5 days. It took me 6.5 days to make the drop. It was supposed to take 4. We are so cooked. Anyways, we're now starting part 7 out of 14 parts of the level, so we're almost halfway done with the gameplay. Okay, I like this gameplay here. And now time to figure out our structuring here. Trying to get like an interesting rock kind of shape. That's pretty cool. I like that. And we'll use these as tiny pieces of grass. We're making some floating platforms here because this part's supposed to be kind of like a hallucination, so it can be a bit unrealistic and break physics. But yeah, this is supposed to be a slower break part, so we're keeping it a little easier. Okay, this looks a little tight. Yeah, we'll nerf that. Alright, I just finished the structuring here, and now we're gonna make like a few dramatic jumps and like a dramatic silhouette effect. Alright, so I have a little click pattern there that I like. Add a few spikes around these. Now it's like impossible. Wow, that's really tight timing. Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking here. Like, this is a break part. Some of these jumps gotta be hella nerfed or else it'll just be unbearable. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna hop off for today. Bye-bye. Alright, welcome back. I have made this part way too difficult and we need to nerf it. We're gonna recycle some of these ruins. I also wanted every object to rotate here, which took really long. I'm not gonna show you, it's so boring. I have a bit of a weird contraption here, a lot of triggers. It's really a mess, so it's pretty annoying to deal with. Then we slapped in a few shader triggers like this. Alright, I like the way this part is going. I like how it is. Now time to finish up the second half of the part, which is this interesting silhouette effect. And it looks very stale right now, so I gotta make it look dramatic. First of all, I think some shakes would go very great here. Oh, I think it's kind of cool if we do some dramatic zooms here. I feel like a big moon in the background might go hard. Let me see if we can just kind of like recycle this moon. Alright, that's about all for today. I know it didn't seem like much, but making all these like rotate around genuinely took so long and I just didn't show that. So yeah, it was a lot of work, trust. Alright, it is another day. This is gonna be a slower, easier part, but of course, I still want the gaps to be tight. Okay, now this part's way too easy, actually. This looks like it would be hard, but it's just genuinely not. I'm trying to give like a wooden castle kind of vibe with the structuring. I don't really know exactly what. We're gonna have a big lens circle here because this part's gonna be very dark. And I also added a little flashlight spotlight effect around the player. I have some cool ideas of like some things that will be in the darkness whenever it's decorated. We made some more relatively easy UFO and ball gameplay. Now we need some more ship gameplay because tight ship is always nice. And that was about wraps for this day. We built a pretty good amount here, actually. There we go. go. Well. It's been 19 days and we made 7.5 out of 14 gameplay parts. This is taking so long, but it is worth it because I'm quite happy with how this is turning out. This video's getting really long, so that's all the building for now. As promised, here's a little showcase of everything we've had so far, and enjoy.
Find your way into this wonderland. Cross the maze, the dark, the innocent. Chase the faith, the thrill, the heaven sent. I got your world upside down. The labyrinth will guide you far away to a place where senses will decay. Your ghost and mind will shadow play. I got your world upside down. Upside down. Find your way into this wonderland. Cross the maze, the dark, the innocent. Chase the faith, the thrill, the heaven sent. I got your word.
Man, we got a long way to go. We still need to finish the gameplay, decorate the whole level, and embark on a whole verification journey, so expect many more parts to come. If you haven't seen part 1, I'll put it on screen right here. I do explain a few more meaningful things about this level that I didn't explain in this video, so you can check it out. And I have plenty of other videos you'll enjoy too if you enjoyed this one right here. Thank you very much for tuning in, and see you all later.